Evening, everyone, and welcome to The Next Revolution. We still don't know the motive behind today's church shooting in California, but the circumstances surrounding the Buffalo murders are becoming too clear, all too clear. Everyone who loves America not only hates what happened in Buffalo yesterday afternoon, but should want to understand the reasons why. Of course, in the end, the murders are the responsibility of the individual who committed them. The gun didn't do it, the internet didn't do it, cable news didn't do it, the murderer did it. But of course, there's much more to it than that. How did we get to a point where an 18-year-old kid is so consumed by hate that he's determined to do something so evil? That does require us to ask questions about what's going wrong in our society with technology, in our political discourse. And how did we end up with a system where even after being detained by police last year for threatening to carry out a school shooting, taken to a mental health facility and given a psychiatric evaluation, this twisted kid can buy a gun in the first place? If we want to try and actually prevent this kind of horror from being repeated, we must engage with all these questions in good faith. There's been very little of that in the commentary I've seen in the last 24 hours, but it's how we're going to approach it here. Let's start with the most immediate practical question. How could this kid, after threatening a school shooting aged 17 and being flagged as a mental health risk, possibly buy a gun just months later? We hear all the time the demands for more gun control, but the people in charge can't even seem to operate the controls we have now properly. I saw the governor of New York today patting herself on the back for her state's tough gun laws, then blaming neighboring states for this shooting. But it was the state she runs that let a mentally disturbed kid who was detained for threatening mass murder go on to buy a gun. The New York Attorney General swooping in to politicize the situation. But she's the chief law enforcement officer of the state. Why doesn't she look into her department's responsibility for what went wrong here? You got the FBI director with his endless grandstanding lectures about domestic terrorism. But what exactly is the point of the FBI if it can't prevent something like this, when there were not just warning signs, but a gigantic Times Square-sized billboard screaming dangerous psychopath? Christopher Wray, Kathy Hochul, Letitia James, politicians and bureaucrats always so eager to pass the blame and demand new powers and resources and laws. Well, I hope the media takes the trouble to dig into the operation of the existing systems run by these people and hold them accountable. Of course, it's much less work for the media not to do that. Who wants to bother with all the boring details of the interplay between the FBI and local law enforcement and schools and mental health services when you can just blame right-wing extremism and white supremacy? Of course, as many have pointed out, they don't talk about left-wing extremism when you see anti-Semitism at the highest levels of the Democratic Party. Not much focus on anti-white hate, even when it leads to shootings on the New York subway. I see anti-Asian hate regularly lumped in with all this white supremacy, even when its perpetrators are black. But we'll never get anywhere in this country if we keep going with that kind of dumb tribalism. Let's be better than the left, better than the establishment media. Let's be honest. This murderer did make clear his motivation. Now, some are reporting that included in his manifesto was anti-Semitic propaganda targeting Fox News, as well as other media organizations. But that wasn't the main thrust of it, not by a long way. Of course, the vast majority of conservatives, Republicans, Trump supporters, whatever label you want to use, are repulsed by this stuff. It is obviously disgusting. But think about your reaction if the breaking news this weekend was of an Islamist attack in a grocery store killing 10 people, driven by the kind of radical Islamist ideology that we grew all too familiar with after 9/11. We'd be looking for a law enforcement response, of course. But we'd also be asking, where was this terrorist radicalized? How can we stop it? And in fact, we don't need to imagine what we'd do or say in that circumstance, because it's what we've been doing and saying for the past 2 decades, actually with some success. Target the preachers of hate. Target online radicalization. Demand that mainstream, moderate Muslims denounce the tiny minority of evil in their midst. We need to do all of that now for this ideology of hate. Because just as it was a despicable smear after 9/11 to suggest that all Muslims are terrorists, so the media and the Democrats are engaged in a despicable smear today that all conservatives, all Republicans, all Trump supporters are racists and white supremacists. Of course, that is a hateful, divisive and cynical lie, an attempt to deflect from their own policy failures, most notably on immigration. As I've often said, just like most Americans, I am pro-immigration. How could I not be as a new citizen of America and as someone whose family escaped communism in Hungary, giving me all the opportunities of life in a free society? But public consent for immigration depends on government control of immigration. And now we have a government that doesn't even pretend to control it. Immigration control isn't, or at least shouldn't be, a race issue. It's a rule of law issue. The left and the media seem to love the rule of law everywhere except the border, where they're completely fine with the rule of the mob and the crime cartel. So the demand for strong borders, a demand that comes from Americans of all races, and Americans in all political parties actually, is not racist. In fact, it's racist to argue that somehow Latino Americans or black Americans are less interested in strong borders and controlled immigration than white Americans. That's why, as I have long argued, since Trump's conservative populism defeated GOP establishment elitism, the party has the opportunity to build a multiracial working-class coalition, and that is really happening. Do not let bad faith demagogues try to suggest that the majority view on immigration, that we should have strong borders and controlled immigration, is somehow muddled up in the motive for this attack. It was something completely different. And the question is, how did a young kid in New York State get infected with this poison? We know the answer because he told us in his vile manifesto, mostly from the internet. He lists a bunch of websites where he was radicalized online. He live-streamed his crime on Twitch, the platform used by gamers. So let's also demand some action and accountability from these people. Steve Huffman, the CEO of Reddit, your friend and mine, Jeff Bezos, who owns Twitch, which is part of Amazon. And it goes deeper. We must have a serious conversation about it, as we've tried to do here many times. Because in many ways, we're seeing the awful consequences now of a broken society. Kids being given unsupervised access to the internet at a ridiculously young age. Parents feeling powerless to stop it, even if they hate it. All the other kids have a phone, so I've got to have one too. That's why I've long argued for a ban on unsupervised internet access for kids, and that means a ban on smartphones. But deeper than all of that is the breakdown of family. As I've said before, family is the most important thing in my life, and it should be the most important thing in our nation's life. Who thinks our leaders act like that today? They all go on about it left and right, pro-family this and supporting hard-working families that. It is all BS. For decades, we've seen a steady erosion of family as the foundational institution of a strong society, and that has to change. We have to do much more to help families come together and stay together, to set expectations for proper, positive parenting, to make sure every child in America is raised in a stable, loving home. This whole story is a lot more complicated than just blaming your political opponents. We need to investigate the mistakes that allowed this kid to have a gun in the first place. We need to fight hateful ideology wherever we find it. And perhaps more than anything, we have to mend our broken society. That is the next revolution we need. Tell me what you think of that at Steve Hilton X and at NextRevFNC.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.